index.
Thank you, engineer. Thank you very much.
So you don't want me to show that? I don't have to. I don't like the flag, but the people are doing it are good. So as an advertisement, I showed yours in the South African event. So I'm going to do this for them also. Go ahead, take it.
Thank you very much. I'm just in the process of admitting a number of our participants. We appreciate your presence here with us, but make sure unmute yourself so we don't interfere with the program.
Mute yourself.
Did I say unmute? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mute yourself, please. Yeah, I've been saying it a number of times. That's why. Right. It's 2 minutes to 7.
And you are recording it. You need to tell everybody that you are recording the event.
I'm now going to record it. And
it is being recorded. You are recording it now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm recording as well. So
it's going live as well on
the radio.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm recording it as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. No problem, Keith.
Yes.
Heath.
Right, Ras Benji, shall I give you this chance to introduce, from your point of view, as a trustee of Fairfield, as an active member, a director of Fairfield House, to introduce or to recognize the next candidates who would be doing or if you could just give us a brief about the project we started, and then I'm admitting him, and then we can start. Ras Benji, please take it.
And it's 1 minute to 7, Daniel. So let's save that for in the event. I can explain.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Mine is 7 o'clock. So
get your thoughts together, as I don't see Fisiha. So
I don't see Fisiha as well.
I'm here, everyone from Ethiopia. Wasa, greeting everyone.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! I thought you've just given up.
Greetings from far away.
1 minute ago, he's here.
I'm struggling for connections. I've been running up and down. I seem to be connected now. So.
Yeah,
praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Just put the camera right so we can see your face.
Could you see me? I don't know.
Yeah,
somewhere.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
The light should be in front, not in the back.
Everyone is.
Oh, I see. Let me turn around. I will turn around. Let me do that. I'm afraid to move my laptop.
Are you at Haile's Hotel, Haile Gebrselassie?
No, I am in a hotel called the South Star.
Okay,
South
great.
Star.
Welcome.
Very near to my family house.
We tried to do our best without you, so.
Is that better? You can see me better now?
We were panicking, actually. We were panicking. We were going to curse you, so you're safe now. It's 7 o'clock.
Okay, guys, it's exactly 7 o'clock. Take it, Benji. We're going to go live.
Right, Fisiha, I'll give you the chance to introduce the project. I hope you've got the revised program. So if you start how you started this project, and then things will start from that point. Thank you, Fisiha.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. Yes, it's been exciting, very happy and interesting project, fun for many people. So yes, it's all started by how we can support Fairfield House, and of course, as Adwa was coming, you know.
Sorry, you're muted. So unmute yourself, please. Fisiha, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can hear me all right, I hope?
We can hear you now.
Right. This has been really, really fun and exciting, broad, so many people together, from many walks of life, people as we were or are in the lockdown, trying to bring some kind of connection with a lot of people, walking or running, anything we could do, to bring people together, and at the same time support Fairfield House, and of course trying to connect the history of Adwa itself, which is amazing history. So yeah, we started. Fairfield House is in need of support. It's a historical place, and let's do something to support this house. So we started talking to a number of people, and we created Strava. You can hear me all right? I hope so.
Yeah, you're very good. So just continue, please.
Okay, so Strava, which is an active club for running or walking, activities. So we created that. A lot of people joined the activity to support the Fairfield House in capturing the imagination, the feeling of Adwa, as people were walking and running from Addis all the way to the place called Adwa in the north of Ethiopia. So we are over 40 member of people in that group, and everybody's doing or did so many things in that group. We've reached, I think my wife is there as well, I'm sure she can help. So we've reached Adwa, and I think we've returned back to Addis. So that's incredible achievement by all these people. So I must say huge thanks and congratulations to all participants, to everyone who involved by walking or jogging or everything, they've done. So I did a bit of running here, and I picked up a bit of injury. I rested a bit, did a bit more in Ethiopia and in what I was in the UK as well. So huge achievement by everyone. I think it's been incredible. So exciting. Yeah, I hope the whole idea, of course, would support Fairfield House, which was a house by our last emperor during his exile. From 1936 to 1941, during the Second World War. So I hope I've given a little bit of background to everyone why we did such cause, such activity. And of course, today is Adwa Day. I've been walking up and down in a town called Awasa. The street was, I've recorded, I took some pictures. There were so many people celebrating on the streets with a bit of marching band, singing some lovely music, kids, grown-ups, very elderly people joining the march. So nice to see. I hope I will share it for the group, for the Strava group, and you'll all see. So thank you very much. Have I given a bit of background for everyone?
You've done well. You've done well. I bet Ras Benji is going to fill us on the progress of the fundraising. If that's okay, would you be able to give us a couple of minutes on that one as well, please?
Yes, greetings everyone. I'm Ras Benji from Fairfield House, and it's been an honor to work with Fisiha and Daniel and Burhan for this Race to Adwa event. It's been brilliant. I'm really thankful for everyone that's taken part. And I'm excited to say that over £1,500, almost £1,600 last time I checked, has been raised for Fairfield House, which is just excellent and will be of great assistance to us. And yeah, it's an honor to be here on this day and remember those heroes of African victory, everything that they sacrificed to keep their country independent. I look forward to speaking a little bit later about a little bit more about Adwa, and I hope everyone enjoys the evening.
Thank you very much. We're now going to recognize Lij Mulugeta Asrat, making remarks with regards to the event and the project, which is Fairfield House. Lij Mulugeta Asrat, are you with us?
Yes, very much so. Alive and active.
Nice one,
Good evening,
thank you.
ladies and gentlemen. How delighted I am to see so many faces, so many friends of Ethiopia, so many friends of Fairfield House. It's no good delving into the historical aspect of Adwa because we know it A to Z. What I'm trying to say a few words about is how important it is to keep the spirit of Fairfield alive. What does Fairfield symbolize? It symbolizes first and foremost the character of this unique Ethiopian leader. At a time when African leaders stash millions and buy buildings and then rent it or sell it, Haile Selassie took a new initiative of giving back to the people who looked after him during his ordeal. And that tells you so much about Haile Selassie. The second thing, Fairfield House is a monument of the best of Ethiopia to the British people. The compassion of Haile Selassie represents, in a sense, the psyche of Ethiopians. Everywhere you go, when you invite an Ethiopian to a British home, the thank you that you get from an Ethiopian symbolizes our psyche. We are so grateful. We count our blessings, something that not many people in this country do. We in Ethiopia count every blessings. For me, Fairfield House has a tremendous sentimental value because my father, who was then, 15, 16-year-old, accompanied my grandfather and stayed there for a good 4 years. He went to school in Mountain Coombe, down in the valley. Keith, you know it, a beautiful place. But it was there that my grandfather, who was sort of a priestly prince, if you like, received the news of the death of his 3 sons, the Kasa brothers, the Jazmach Abarra, the Jazmach Wondosan, and the Jazmach Asfawasan. And when I was told this by my father many, many years later, I could visualize him vividly. There was a knock at the door at 6 a.m. by none other than Emperor Haile Selassie. And this my dad said, who is it, who is it? And the Ethiopian word Inyanen, which means here we are. And he opened and bowed. And then he saw my grandfather wearing a black cloak, which he usually does, praying. And then he went.
Unmute yourself, please. Lij Mulugeta, unmute yourself, please.
I thought I did.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden you were muted, but continue, please.
Okay, knock at the door by none other than Emperor Haile Selassie. my dad opens, and my grandfather, who was praying at this time, said, what brought you here this early? And he said, I have sad news for you. And he said, what is it? God has allowed your sons to be sacrificed for Ethiopia. At which point he took off his clock. What's the word? Madagdeg is, help me, linguist here. You know the shamma that we wear.
Basically, to bow down.
Sorry?
To bow down, basically.
No, not the shamma, madagdeg. If you wear the shamma this way, it's for prayer. But if you do it the other way, okay? And then he bowed, he genuflected, lied down and said, God, you gave them to me. Thank you. You take them away from me. Thank you. And then he prayed. So that has been, that has etched in my memory since I was told. And one thing I forgot to tell you the other day, when my dad and I,
Lij Mulugeta, I do apologize.
Sorry, Lij Mulugeta, when we are trying to admit people, we are inadvertently muting you. I apologize.
Oh, I see. Very good. But if I'm taking too much of your time...
No, go ahead, please.
We met a certain Abba Marcos, who later on defrocked himself and became our ambassador to Kenya. He was responsible for officiating Sunday services. And we just suddenly met him. I think it was Victoria Station. And we came along a journey. And imagine those two arriving at Fairfield Place. Say, oh, this was this. We used to grow cabbages and carrots here and what have you. And one of the things that they told us was there were old ladies who brought vegetables, oats for the household, you know, people who haven't even seen the emperor. They even wanted them to come and have a cup of tea, coffee at their home, which the ladies did. So there is this sentimental attachment to my family, and I'll do everything within my capacity to help revitalize the spirit of Haile Selassie at Fairfield House. How do we do it? We are inheritors of Haile Selassie. The core values of Haile Selassie should be there. Our Rasta brothers and sisters should get all the credits for keeping the place intact and still going on. And I am behind you. You lead, I follow. Thank you. Have a very good evening.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. I'd like to recognize now, I'm not sure, Engineer Scale, have you seen him?
My recommendation is I'll show the video when Kit starts, and then at the end I'll show the Houston video, and then I'll say a few words at the end. It's your show. I'm just supporting you guys. Go ahead.
Thank you. We do appreciate. Right. Okay. Burhan, are you with us? Athlete Burhan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you give us a few moments of your experience of Racetoadwa and how you chosen to raise such consciousness alongside with Engineer Fissa? Go ahead, please.
እኔ እንግዲህ በአማርኛ ነው የምቀጥለው የተዘጋጀሁት በፊቱ ስለ ሂስትሪ ስለ ሩጫ እንዴት እንደጀመርኩ እና ነገሮች ነው ያዘጋጀሁት እና ያኛውን ማጠቃለላለሁ አንድ 3-4 ደቂቃ
Yeah, can I say, we do apologize for those of you who are not speaking Amharic, but athlete Brahan is requesting that she would like to address us in Amharic, so we will interject. I'll try to interject and address that if you don't mind. So apologies for that.
And excuse me, Index, and it is high time our English-speaking friends, both from the UK and elsewhere, start learning Amharic.
Yeah, of course. No need to apologize at all.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Burhan. You look wonderful, Burhani. Thank you.
Okay, Ashi. እንኳን ለ125ኛው የአድዋ ድል በሰላም አደረሰን። ስሜ ብርሃን ዳኜ ይባላለሁ። ባለትዳር የሁለት ልጆች እናት ነኝ። የተወለድኩት እና ያደግኩት በአዲስ አበባ 3 ቁጥር ማዞሪያ ነው። ሩጫን የጀመርኩት በቀለ የአንደኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ቤት ያለው በስፖርት ክፍለ ጊዜ ነው። ወደ ኤስኦኤስ ሁለተኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ቤት ከገባው በኋላ ትምህርት ቤቴን ወክዬ የመወዳደሩን እድል አገኘው። ከትምህርት ቤቴም ወደ አትሌት ክለብ ገባው። ከክለብም ወደ ብሔራዊ ቡድን ተመርጬ አገሬ ኢትዮጵያን በ1986 የኢትዮጵያ አቆጣጠር ወይም በ1994 ሃንጋሪ የዓለም ወጣቶች የሀገር አቋራጭ ውድድር ተካፈል። በዚሁም ዓመት በተከታታይ ኢትዮጵያ አገሬን ወክዬ በ4 ሀገሮች ተሳተፍ። 1987 በኢትዮጵያ ወይም 1995 በእንግሊዝ አገር ዱርሃም በሚባል ከተማ የዓለም ሀገር አቋራጭ በወጣት ውድድሩን ከተወዳደርኩ በኋላ እንግሊዝ ሀገር ለመቅረት ወሰንኩ። የወሰንኩበት ምክንያት በኢትዮጵያ አትሌቲክስ ፌዴሬሽን ውስጥ በአትሌቶች ላይ ብዙ ችግሮች ነበሩ። በተለይም በእንግሊዝ ሀገር ከቀረሁ በኋላ የኢትዮጵያ አትሌቲክስ ፌዴሬሽን ባለንበት ሀገር እንዳንወዳደር አገደን። ከብዙ ውጣ ውረድ በኋላ በ1991 ወይም በ1999 በፈረንጆች ታላቋን ብሪታንያን በዓለም ሀገር አቋራጭ ውድድር ለመወከል በቃው። በታላቋ ብሪታንያ ብሔራዊ ቡድን ውስጥ ሆኜ ታላቋ ብሪታንያን በመወከል በ10,000 ግማሽ ማራቶንና ዱላ ቅብብል በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ ተሳትፌያለሁ። የሲድኒ ኦሎምፒክ 10,000 ተጠባባቂና አቴንስ ኦሎምፒክ ማራቶን ተጠባባቂ ለመሆን በቅቻለሁ። የሩጫ ህይወቴ የተቋረጠው ሁለተኛ ልጅን በመውለዴ ምክንያት 2002 ወይም 2009 ነበር። ስለኔ ይሄን ካልኩ በኋላ ስለ ሯጮች ትንሽ አነሳለሁ። በሩጫ እንደ አድዋ ድል ብዙ ድሎች ተጎናጽፈናል። ለዚህም ደግሞ ፈርቀዳጁ ዓለምን ያነጋገረው የሩጫው አባት አበበ ቢቂላ ነው። ቀኝ ግዢዎች በአገራችን ላይ መተው ሊገዙን ቢፈልጉም ልበ ሙሉዎቹና ብልሃተኞቹ የቀድሞ አባቶቻችንና እናቶቻችን አይቀጡ ቅጣት ቀጥተው የመጀመሪያ አፍሪካውያን ሲሆኑ አበበ ቢቂላ ደግሞ 1960 ሮም ላይ በራሳቸው ሜዳ ላይ የሰላሙን ጦርነት በባዶ እግሩ ድል በማድረግ የመጀመሪያው የአፍሪካ በማራቶን አሸናፊ ሆኗል። በአበበ የተጀመረው ድል ይሄው እስከዛሬ በዓለም ላይ ኢትዮጵያ ስመጥር ገናና በዓለም ላይ ሰንደቅ ዓላማዋን ከፍ ብሎ እንዲውለበለብ አድርጎልናል። የሱም ፈለግ ተከትለው በቅርቡ ኢትዮጵያን በዓለም ላይ ስሟን ከፍ ካደረጉት ጀግኖቻችን ለምሳሌ ኃይሌ ገብረስላሴና ደራርቱ ይጠቀሳሉ። ከዚህም በመቀጠል ንጉሠ ነገሥት ቀዳማዊ ኃይለ ሥላሴ ቤት ባዝ ከተማ ላለው ቤት ለማደስ የገንዘብ ድጋፍ ያደረጋችሁልንና በአድዋ ውድድር ላይ በመሮጥ በመጓዝ እንዲሁም ሐሳባችን ደግፋችሁ ለተሳተፋችሁና የአድዋን ድል መታሰቢያ ለማክበር ለታደማችሁ ውድ ኢትዮጵያውያንና የኢትዮጵያን ወዳጆች ምስጋናዬ ከፍ ያለ ነው። በመሮጥም በመጓዝም ከአዲስ አበባ ተነስተን አድዋ ድል አድርገን በመመለስ ለተሳተፋችሁ ሁላ ከልቤ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። በመጨረሻም ድል ከኢትዮጵያ አልፎ በዓለም ላይ ዛሬ 125ኛ ዓመት ቅኝ ገዢዎችን ያስደነገጠ ታላቅ አኩሪ ታሪካችን ነው። አድዋን ስናነሳ የአፄ ምኒልክ እና የእቴጌ ጣይቱ ፊት መሪነት እንዲሁም ጀግኖች የጦር መሪዎችና ኢትዮጵያኖች እንድናስብ ያስገድደናል። ዛሬ የምናከብረው እንደነ አሜሪካ ወይም ህንድ ከቅኝ ግዛት የወጣንበት ሳይሆን ጀግኖች አባቶቻችን ድል ያደረጉበት የድል በዓላችን ነው። አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you, Athlete Burhan. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We still have a good time. So if any of you have any question, Athlete Burhan just advised us or told us a short story how she went about doing athleticism in her country, representing her country, how she ended up in United Kingdom and running for UK, and how successful she was. And she also was thanking the other athletes who were doing their bits, representing their country. So, Engineer Fissa, if you're there, would you like to interject in terms of if you have any question to ask or to highlight with regards to our event concerning Athlete Burhan as well? Because in general, we said interview with Athlete Burhan, so we were supposed to do that. So I'll give you the chance. Go ahead, please.
Well, that's okay. Thank you. Well, it was nice to hear all that thing in Amharic. It was so lovely. But I thought, Burhan, maybe you could try a little bit about how you made the connection with Fairfield House, from the day you came and what you felt. That would be nice to hear for us and everyone, just the small bits of your connection to Fairfield House. Few lines, or I can help.
እሺ እኔ ፌርፊልድ የመጣሁት በሳራ ጋባዥነት ነው እና እናንተ ጋር ስመጣ በጣም ደስ የሚል አቀባበል ተቀብላችሁናል እና ከዛ ጀምሮ ፌርፊልድ ሃውስን አውቀዋለሁኝ። ከዛም በኋላ
Let me just tell the story what you just said so far. She was just saying she was invited to come for a get-together Ethiopian event. I think it was a New Year or Easter, one of the two. And she came and saw such a lovely event with people gathered. And that was the first being in the house, in Fairfield House. Okay.
ከዛም በኋላ ያው አቶ ክፍሌን አግኝቼ ሳቸው ስለ ቤቱ ማርጀቱንና እናንተም ለንደን ብዙ ሰዎች አላችሁና ብትሳተፉ ብለው ነገሩን። ከዛ በኋላ በውስጤ ነበርና ያው ነገሩን በማሳጠር ከዛ በኋላ ፔቲሽን ይዘዋወር ነበር ባለፈው ዲሴምበር ላይ የኃይለ ሥላሴ ቤት ይሸጣል ተብሎ ታቆመልህ።
Okay, so while I was there on that event, and I met some Sarah, Mulu, also Gash Kifle, and she exchanged some words about the house, and the Gash Kifle is somewhere there, I'm sure, and advised her we should try to do more. People like you around London try to support the Fairfield House going forward. Yeah.
petition kayo hodia sarana.
Oh yeah, sorry, I beg your pardon. There was a wrong petition was flying around. Yes, that was it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, sarana mulun አናገርኩኝ ሙሉ ያው ካንተ ጋር ተነጋግራ አንተን ለማነጋገር በቃው። እንግዲህ ሐሳቡ ከዚህ ተጀመረ። አንተም በጣም ትልቅ ስራ ነው የሰራኸው። በጣም አመሰግናለሁ እና እንዲሁም ደግሞ ለፌርፊልድ የፌርፊልድ ሃውስ ኮሚኒቲ ውስጥ ያሉት ሰዎች በጣም ትልቅ ያው አፕሪሺየት አድርገው ሐሳቤን እንግዲህ ጀምረን ይሄው ለዛሬ በቅተናል እንግዲህ
Here, thank you.
Just the last line.
Yes.
In that wrong petition, she was saying they gathered. It was a wrong petition, and then they felt the houses need support, and they started the idea of how they can support the house going forward. That was it.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We're on dot 25 minutes past. So we are going to welcome our distinguished guests, keynote speakers, with regards to the actual event today. Historically, Ethiopia won the Battle of Adwa. So our historical experts like Dr. Alula. Are you there, Dr. Alula? Okay, Ras Benji, will you give us a briefing until we recognize Dr. Alula with the history of Adwa? Thank you, Ras Benji.
Yes, thank you. My section is really about the impact of the Battle of Adwa in the diaspora. But first of all, apologies if my voice sounds a little bit emotional. I actually lost a friend today, and I'd like to livicate this, historical piece to him. He's someone that I always used to speak to about history, and he really would appreciate this. And may the Almighty just receive him with open arms, as I know that he will.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The context of the Battle of Adwa is really in the 19th century context, and it starts with the Haitian Revolution in 1804, and then we have emancipation from slavery in the British colonies in 1833, and then in the French colonies in 1848, and then in the USA in 1868, and then of course, in the same year, we have the Battle of Magdala in 1868 also, and then the Berlin Conference, the Division of Africa in 1884. So you see, Adwa really fits into this time with this great shifting change and the grand effect that it would have on racial consciousness throughout the diaspora, of newly liberated Africans looking for their identity and being told, places like Britain, that's your mother country, when you might also consider that Ethiopia is, the root and where you come from, or Africa as a whole is where you come from. So there's this rising consciousness, and Adwa really had a dramatic effect. And I'm going to put it in 3 different areas that it had an effect, and that's in religion, in political power, and in people. So in religion, the effect that Adwa had was a continuation of the strong Ethiopianist interpretations of the Bible that were often practiced in secret in slavery. And these gave birth to churches such as the African Methodist Zion Church in the US and the Ethiopian Baptist Church in Jamaica. So these became even more stronger with a place such as Ethiopia in the news, and in that positive light, it really shone the biblical connection. And of course, that led to further Ethiopianist movements and ultimately to Rastafari. So that's the impact on religion. With political power, Adwa was really signified the birth of Pan-Africanism. And with the world spotlight was shone on Emperor Menelik in Ethiopia. Emperor Menelik featured in Vanity Fair, even in Europe. So this was a completely different role model for Africans and really leveraged political power. And the first Pan-African Congress was organized by a Trinidadian, Sylvester Williams, and happened in London in the year 1900. And this was just before Marcus Garvey was about to make revolutionary progress with his Universal Negro Improvement Association. So that gets us onto people and how and Africans in the diaspora, in the Caribbean in particular, but also in America, connected with Ethiopia. And the first person is Benito Sylvain, and he was a Haitian intellectual and poet, and he first went to Ethiopia just a year after Adwa in 1897, and there he was awarded the Order of the Cross of King Solomon,
I'm afraid we're being Zoom bombed.
Yeah,
Are we safe now?
No, we have to keep removing the
No, we're doing that.
Yeah, we have to keep doing that.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, let's just keep removing this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Benito Sylvain, he represented Ethiopia at the first Pan-African Congress in 1900, and he was from Haiti. And His Majesty Haile Selassie, he actually continued this relationship with Haiti, visiting in 66. And he actually opened an Ethiopian embassy in the 60s in Haiti, just a couple of years before his Caribbean visit, where his Caribbean visit was organized from. So that relationship was continued there. And then the next person was Dr. Joseph Vitalien, and he was Emperor Menelik's personal physician, and he was actually from Guadeloupe, and he arrived in Ethiopia in 1900. And he was a multifaceted person, not only being a doctor, but he served on the board of the Ethio-French Railway and was the tutor of young Tafari Makonnen, and also was a representative of Ethiopia at Pan-African events. So I actually think this would have had a very strong impact on young Tafari to have someone from the African diaspora in the Caribbean travel all the way to Ethiopia and become his tutor. Amazing history and relationship there. And then this led, these kind of connections, they led in the Second World War, in the Second Italian invasion, for people like John C. Robinson from Georgia in the USA, the Ethiopian fighter pilot, to travel to Ethiopia and do good works there in the war. And then there was also someone called David Tolbert, who was around in His Majesty's time, who was a teacher and historian, and he was from Guyana. So this relationship, Adwa really cemented this relationship with the African diaspora. And the icing on the cake really is His Imperial Majesty's land grant to Ethiopians in the diaspora, given in 1955 to the Ethiopian World Federation in Shashamane, originally 200 hectares. So it's a huge impact, and long may these connections between Ethiopia and all the Africans in the diaspora, all the suffering peoples in the world continue, because Ethiopia is a great inspiration. And events like Adwa and the Second Italian invasion and everything Ethiopia overcome, they really stand out in history as these positive landmarks and things that can inspire everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do apologize for that. We've been...
Hold on just a second, Index. Could you give me a second? Brooke, are you here? I need to shut down this chat room. These guys are really vulgar. I need to shut down the chat room.
Oh, okay. I'll try to shut it down because I'm a host. Let me try.
I don't know if you can do that. I am the host. So
maybe you can make me a host, maybe.
Who is this?
Binyam.
I've done it. The chat's closed now.
Okay.
Thank you, Elena.
It means that no one else can use the chat, but once we get these half-wits removed, we can carry on.
Let's make only the co-hosts who can chat. The people I made co-host. I made you co-host also. Did you shut it down?
I've shut it down for now, so the chat can't be used.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. So sorry, guys. I mean, we can't even celebrate Adwa in peace. So I apologize. Thank you, Brooke. Go ahead, Index.
Okay. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that technology. Surprising us with all these goodies. Can we recognize Dr. Alula? Is Dr. Alula with us?
He's here. He's here.
Thank you. Is there anyone who can give us, protocol-wise that is, give us a brief about Dr. Alula, and then we can give him the mic.
Thank you very much. don't think it's necessary. And I just wanted to say how happy I am that to have been invited to take part in this event, and I'm learning a lot. And I think Rasbenji has already given enough of the background on Adwa. If my father were around, obviously he would say more. I'm not a historian, although my name is Alula, who was one of the key people in the Adwa victory. And it's wonderful to be here and to hear about the initiative in Fairfield House. So I look forward to learning more. Thank you very much for inviting me.
ተሻገረ ቢሉት ቀይ ባህርን ጠላት አሉላ ተቆጣ ነደደ እንደ እሳት ጫን አለ ፈረሴን ወልወል ጎራዴን አውርድ ከግድግዳ ጦርና ጋሻዬን ማንም አይራቃትም ውዲቱን አገሬን ምታ ነጋሪቱን ንፋ መለኸቱን ጀግናው ሁሉ ይክተት ይሰለፍ ይታጠቅ አገር መደፈሯን ይነገረው ይወቅ ሰማ ሰራዊቱ የጠላትን ድፍረት ጥቃቱ ሆነበት የመረረ ከሬት እንሂድ እንዝመት ጠላትን እንውቃ ክንዳችንን ይኸው ትዕግስታችን ይብቃ በአርብሮ ገደል በጊንዳ ቁልቁለት በደማስን ሜዳ በሰሃጤን ዥረት የአሉላ ሰራዊት ተርመሰመሰበት አገኘው ጠላቱን ተድአሊ ላይ ሰፍሮ ምሽጉን ገንብቶ መድፉን አነጣጥሮ ደላው አላላ ግባ ተደባለቅ አሳየው ክንድህን ማንነትን ይወቅ አልቀረም አንጀቱ ጢሶ እንደነደደ የጠላትን አንገት ያወራረደ ጣለው በጎራዴ አጨደው ከመረው ተድአሊ እልል አለች አሉላም ደስ አለው ከዚያ በኋላ ነው አሉላ እንዲህ ያለው አንድ ጊዜ ክንዴን አቅሻቸዋለሁ ደግሞ ብቅ ካሉ እደግማቸዋለሁ ራሱ ቀይ ባህር ድንበር ነው አገሬ የቆየ ነውና ከጥንት እስከ ዛሬ እኔ ሄድኩለት ሮማን ልገዛ ያኔ ምናልባት ቢበዛ ቢበዛ ጣሊያንም ሰሃቲ ሊመጣ ይችላል ከዛ አልፋለሁ ብል ክንዴ ይደግመዋል የኢትዮጵያ ጀግና ይሰባብረዋል ይህ ነበር ምኞቱ የቆራጥነቱ አሉላ አባነጋ የታገለለቱ አገሬን የነኩ የደፈሩ ሁሉ በኢትዮጵያ ጀግና ክንድ ይዳሸቃሉ ስመ ጥሩ ጀግና አሉላ አባነጋ ጠላት በጎራዴ ሲነዳ ሲያንጋጋ በአውሮፓ ጸሐፊ ያስመሰከረ ነው የአሉላን ጀግንነት አለ የሚለው ማን ነው አገሩን ሲጠብቅ በምዕራብ በምስራቅ በደቡብ በሰሜን አትንኩ ነበር አትድፈሩ አገሬ
Thank you. I know you speak of Amharic as well. Would you be able to address us in Amharic? Because we've missed some of your gutm. I remember of a nice poem you wrote about Adwa. Am I
በጣም አመሰግናለሁኝ ግጥሙ የማሞ ውድነህ ነበረ ስለ ራስ አሉላ እና የአድዋ ጦርነት እና በዶጋሌ 100ኛው ዓመት ጊዜ ነበረ ያንን ግጥም እንዳነብ እድል ያገኘሁትና ስለተጋበዝኩኝ የዛሬውን ዕለት በዛሬ ስለጋበዛችሁኝ በጣም አመሰግናለሁኝ። ሲርስትል
እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን። We do appreciate your time.
ኢንዴክስ ዶክተር አሉላን እንጋብዝ አድቫይዝ ያደረገን ዶክተር አብይ ዳንኤል ነው። አይ ሆፕ እሱ ገብቷል። በዛ ላይ ኪት ባወርንም እንድንጋብዝ ደግሞ ሬኮሜንድ ያደርገው ዶክተር አሉላ ነው። በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ዶክተር አሉላ። not only he speaks Amharic ግዕዝ ሁሉ ያውቃል እና ኢትዮጵያ ተወልዶ ያደገ በኦርቶዶክስ ቸርች የተጠመቀ ወንድማችን ኢትዮጵያዊ ነው። Thank you አሉላ። Take it.
Thank you. Ras Benji, you've highlighted a few important points, historical points. We do appreciate that. What I would like now, what time is it now? 22.
Index?
Yes.
Can I just come in at this point?
Yes, please.
And,
go ahead.
Comment on a name that Ras Benji mentioned, Dr. Talbot. Mrs. Talbot was the headmistress of Zanneborg School in Addis. Dr. Talbot was working for the Ministry of Information, and I think he was the editor of the Herald at one point. But what interested me now is the role he played on September the 12th, 1974, when the emperor was dethroned. That is the official. There was a bit of discussion on how best to break the news. Was he overthrown or was he dethroned? So Dr. Talbot came up with this. The emperor was described then as dethroned. Dethroned, I was later to find out, doesn't mean, it means there is a succession, and rightly so, because his son was made an emperor, the coronation of which the revolutionaries told us would happen when he arrived in Ethiopia. That's never happened. So I just thought Dr. Talbot is a very much renowned person in Ethiopia. Thank you.
Ras Benji, please, if you go ahead.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that extra information, Mulugeta. I wonder if anyone else has anything to add about the Adwa and just their own personal reflections, and we can open it up as well if anybody would like to come forward in this time to add a short something. That would be fantastic.
That's very nice. Thank you. I know Dr. Mamo Muche was supposed to, Professor Mamo Muche. Can we recognize him too? Engineer, are you there?
Index.
Al-Gabbam, he's trying to get in.
Index.
Yes.
So the gentleman here, Talahun.
Oh, Talahun. Yes, please.
Unmute.
Talahun, if you unmute and Talahun, are you with us?
No.
He's not.
I think we need to unmute him.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Just to introduce for those people who might not know me, my name is Talahun Ilma. I am a distinguished professor of University of California, Davis here. also a member of U.S. National Academy of Sciences, including the Ethiopian Academy of Sciences. I'm just saying this to make a few points. How many of us, because of unfortunate situations, were denied the opportunity to live at home and make a difference for our people? First, I would like to give credit to my family who participated in the Adwa War. My great uncle, Fitarari Gabayo Gora, the father of my mother, and Nago Wagjaran Gabayo Gora were children of two brothers. So you can see that many Oromos, including the Jazmat Balcha, were leading heroes that make a huge difference in the defeat of Italy at the Battle of Adwa. So let's not forget this. So the recent ethnic conflict that is created in our country is deliberate, in my opinion, no question about a retaliation of the West, because an African nation led by great people, Ethiopians, Emperor Minilik, Aitu Butul, the Jazmat Bacha, Gabayo Gora, I can go on, were able to make the first defeat of a European power by an African nation. This is brought joy and inspiration for other free-loving people to pursue and to get their freedom. I just want to give you one example of how Ethiopia has been viciously attacked, and many attempts have made to destroy it. I was a guest of the Italian government in 1997. I was based at University of Milan, and I asked the officials there if there was any opportunity they could make an arrangement for me to meet with the foreign minister of Italy to bring why is the West waging ethnic politics in Ethiopia. And the dean said to me, I don't think the foreign minister would help you with this, but why don't I make an appointment for you with the person in charge for East Africa in the foreign ministry? And I said, I'd be delighted. This person name was Mr. Largo. And I flew from Milan to Rome. He was very courteous and asked me, are you a friend of him? I said, yes, I am. And he said, I cannot give you the document, a copy of the document, but I'll give you a highly classified information just to let you know what is going on. This was a letter that was sent from the from the British Foreign Ministry to the State Department. Basically, it discusses a program called BESO, Basic Education System Overhaul. The purpose of this was to destroy our national language, Amharic, to destroy our great writing, Sabian, Queen Sheba, our writings, and substitute that with Latin, and invest in having all ethnic groups to use their languages and Latin for communication. Basically, they were building the Tower of Babel. And so Meles was put in power. Great investment was done to wage ethnic politics, to divide along Ethiopian ethnic line, to destroy our heritage, to destroy our literature, to destroy our alphabet. And this is been the West's contribution. This is not the first time it was done. It started with Adwa. Eritrea is totally an Italian fabrication. The people living north of the Merab River, the people living in Tigray, south of the Merab River, are the same Tigrinya-speaking people. And in fact, if Ras Alula was present, he would roll, his skeletons would roll in his grave if he found out that our great hero, Ras Alula, who is a great general who led the Ethiopian army to defeat the Egyptians, to defeat the Sudanese, the Italians, if he were to know today that Ethiopia is being divided along ethnic lines, and we spend over the lives of 100,000 people, billions of dollars defending a colonial boundary at Badme. That is a degradation to our heritage. That is a colonial fabricated boundary where we spend billions of dollars purchasing Western equipment and destroying our nation. Instead of, just imagine if we had taken all these resources, invested in education, invested it in infrastructure and industry, not just the Tigrayans, the Oromos, or the Ama, any of the ethnic groups, all of us as Ethiopians today would have been at least at the level of Taiwan or South Korea. And all this destruction is based on this horrible, horrible situation where they wage ethnic politics in Ethiopia. So what is the solution today? The solution today is really to start, I have discussed this with many Ethiopians, to start discussing a program called EthiopianNet. Teach about what a great nation Ethiopia, what a great history we have. When I was an elementary student in Nazareth, Ethiopia,
yes, sir.
Every week, once a week, we had a lecture on on behavior, or what we call it, moral. And instead of that, if we have a class once a week, from 1st to 12th grade about EthiopianNet, and instead of teaching us the great Roman Empire, Persian Empire, British Empire, I have never was taught a single class on the great Ethiopian history. We have to educate our people history that is more to be gained as one nation. I have 4 ethnic groups in me, so I cannot know which territory, ethnic kifil I'm supposed to belong. And Ethiopia also played a very significant role in getting rid of the apartheid program, helped Mandela. Ethiopia played a major role in helping Mandela get rid of the apartheid program. And to wage an apartheid program on a great nation called Kilil is a disgrace. So I beg all Ethiopians to get rid of Kilil, to get rid of this ethnic division, and think of us all as one people that respect each other, respect our culture, respect our heritage. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks very much. We do appreciate that. I have noticed that Professor Mamo Muche is with us. If you're listening to this, could you kindly unmute yourself and say a few words with regards to the day, the Battle of Adwa? Professor Mamo Muche, are you with us? Can you hear me?
No, he's not. When we had the security thing, we kicked him out by mistake. So he's trying to find a new device.
Oh, I thought I saw him. I just saw him coming in.
He's not just yet.
Can I pose a question?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
This is for Professor Talahun Yilma. Thank you for your insightful analysis of our country. I wonder if, in your learned opinion, you think Ethiopia has lost we Ethiopians have lost our moral compass. Thank you.
Before you give that to the professor, if you give me 1 second here. Excuse me, I apologize. Why is the host is allowing me? Okay. Anyway, I'll turn the volume here. I want to introduce my friend, Professor Yilma, and we meet almost every week here on the COVID Advisory Council. He is a retired professor from UC Davis. He was a distinguished professor. Now he is a distinguished professor emeritus. He is not the best virologist Ethiopia can offer. He's the best virologist in the world, period. Most of the scientists that are running the Chinese CDC and running a lot of major companies used to be his students. And I want to thank him for coming here. And I want to also thank a lot of my friends from New York and the different parts of the United States are here. And go ahead and answer my friend's Lydia Mulgeta's question, please, Professor Yilma. In 2 minutes. Professor, are you there? Unmute yourself. Whoever is controlling the mute, send a signal to unmute.
Who are we supposed to unmute?
He was.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, the question that I've asked, have we lost our moral bearing? Yes, we have. I think the greatest, I wrote a series of articles early on, starting 1996, warning. One of my articles in the Ethiopian Review was building the Tower of Babel. And at that time, it really made a lot of effort. We started a radio program broadcasting from Russia to Ethiopia twice a week, warning that this ethnic division is going to destroy our country. And people just let it go for 30 years. Now it has, talking to my sister, she said, Gashe, which is a respect for an older brother, what you don't realize is those under 30 years of age have been really been affected with ethnic division. It's going to take generations to bring back the feeling, the pride of Ethiopianness. Yes, we've lost our moral bearings. And may I just share one slide? Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right.
You are a host now. You can do that.
Okay, hold on. Oh boy.
In the meantime,
go ahead, because I'm clicking on it and I'm having a hard time.
Share screen, the green button.
Yeah, that's it. Just disappeared, the screen.
Okay, go down to the at the bottom and click on the blue Zoom icon.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. Why don't you continue with
Dr.
other
Mammo.
program until I get this figured out?
Okay, Professor Mammo might be in now. If you are in, could you please unmute yourself? we've let a few people in. Index, do you see Professor Mamo?
I thought I did. Professor Mamo Muche, if you're with us, I'm scrolling down to see his name. I thought I've seen his name.
Let's go. I think we should go to Keith Bauer, and let's start Keith's program, and then Professor Mamo might make it. He has to change the device.
I see. Okay.
And before we start Keith Bauer, obviously we have to show his video after you introduce him. I would really be happy if Dr. Alula introduces Keith Bauer.
Please do. Dr. Alula ከማክበር ሰላምታ ጋር ኪት ባወርን ቢያስተዋውቁልን ባኮት።
Yeah. I am sharing the screen. Can you see it?
Not yet.
Okay, I did put share the screen.
We're not being able to see what he's trying to share, sorry.
Right. Okay, let's go with Keith Bauer and then...
okay, that's fine.
Or you can email it to me, Professor...
yeah, I will email it to you.
Okay, go ahead. Dr. Alula, please introduce our guest.
Unmute yourself as well, please.
Keith Bauer's book on imperial exile on Haile Selassie is the classic account of the period of the emperor in Fairfield House and in Bath, and it really sets the scene and gives a very personal account of explaining the whole episode of that period in exile. So I'm very much looking forward to the video, and I very strongly recommend this book for anyone who wants to get insights into that very important period of Ethiopian history and Haile Selassie's period in the UK.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alula. What we are going to do is we are going to show the short video, and Keith Bauer also have volunteered to donate a few books where he will autograph them, and then you can, after we sell that, the fund will be donated to the house. And without further ado, here is my sharing of the screen. Let's see if I can do a better job than the professor here. Okay, enhance sound.
But in the meantime, Keith, if you unmute yourself so you can do the voiceover, so to speak.
Oh, it has voice. Here you go.
There is echo.
I know.
I think the video doesn't have audio. Can you please unmute yourself?
Engineer Scale. I'm asking you to unmute.
How about now?
Yeah, well, the audio is not. Yeah, you probably have to rewind it. Rewind it. There was no audio.
unfortunately, we can't hear the audio right now as well.
Engineer Scale, I know you dearly want to plug Keith. I think we should take the original. So let's pause the video because the video has no audio. We can see the visual. So Keith, can you unmute yourself and help me on the audio? Thank you.
Hello, I think I'm now unmuted, yes?
Yes, you're unmuted. Go ahead, please.
You want me to lip sync to myself?
That would be lovely, actually.
Yeah, so here's some of the family in Fairfield, the Emperor and the Empress. Wonderful photo here in the grounds of Fairfield, which was then 2.2 acres. Mulugeta, I think maybe that photo there, your father may have been in that. This is going back actually to the 30s before he came. This is one of the crowds gathering and welcoming him. And that's the book that I wrote, Imperial Exile. There's the cover.
Okay, I think you can take it over. We get the gist of it, so I'm going to quit trying to share. Go ahead, Keith, take it over.
Ishi Taniyastalin, Betama Mesaganalo, Ba Ingzinia Menagari Falagalo, Amrinia Betam Whipsup Siblenino, Alchilim. So
you're killing us.
So it's great to be with you all, and it was actually I'm sorry you didn't hear that video in the end because I'd forgotten that I did that about 4 years ago just to launch the video. What it showed was some of Bath, which is a Roman and a Georgian city, and also what's exciting is really that it was an Italian city that the emperor came to. You know, the Romans were big here. And I wrote the book really because I started going to Ethiopia and taught at the University of Addis Ababa, which was where the palace of the emperor was before he came to Bath, and indeed to where he returned after his exile. And so I felt this connection between the two places. And Fairfield, of course, is the building, is the symbol of it. But as Mulugeta said before, it's more than a building. And I think what I wanted to try and show was, one, this link between the two countries, but also look at the experience of the emperor's exile. So it wasn't just what happened. He stayed in Fairfield House. His family were there. They played table tennis in the garden. Many people went to visit him, including Alula, and thank you for your introduction. Alula's grandmother and father went to visit him at Fairfield House. The French Foreign Legion, many Ethiopian exiles as well. So Ethiopia, it wasn't just the emperor that came, his family came, some of his advisors. And what went well was that the people of Bath received him warmly. So this is a wonderful story of two peoples at a point in history meeting up with each other. And of course, the emperor at the time was in his mid-40s. He was a family man. You know, he was not the figure that we've seen in many photographs later, in the later periods of his reign. So this was a very personal time, and a difficult time, obviously, for the emperor. Of course, he had to leave. His father fought the Italians at Adwa, and then the emperor himself fought the Italians in the north of Ethiopia. He decided to leave Ethiopia to appeal to the League of Nations. He stayed in Britain while he was doing that. He toured around. Someone suggested he come to Bath for a rest, in August 1936, which he did. He stayed at a hotel just up the road from where I am now in Bath, and liked it so much and got such a good welcome, and was advised he was running out of money. It looked like he wasn't going to get back to Ethiopia. It was time for him to settle somewhere. And he decided that he would make that place Bath. And that's why he bought Fairfield House and brought a lot of the rest of his family over from Jerusalem to join him. So it was primarily, in the first instance, a family house. And also a place where people went, as I said. And it was a base the emperor used to go to other parts of the country. But what we have to understand about his exile, and I tried to do, is of course, he was here in Bath and walked around the streets and met the mayor and met a lot of families. But in his head, he was still back in Ethiopia, and with terrible news of the massacre at Addis Ababa University after the failed attempt on the life of the Italian Viceroy Graziani. Terrible news about his son-in-law who was murdered by the Italians after he's captured, and other stories of grief and suffering. And a thought which I said in that trailer that you didn't hear, really that he reached a very low point, partly through, he had an accident and hurt his shoulder and his knee, and partly through the winter, and partly through Britain recognizing Victor Emmanuel III as the rightful head of state of Ethiopia. He fell into quite a difficult period. And yet, almost like a biblical story, really, in the depths of despair, there was hope and a sort of resurrection in the fact that the tide of history turned. He left Fairfield House in 1940 after 4 years, actually, although the family stayed for longer. He was in Sudan for a while, and then, as you know, entered Addis Ababa 5 years after the Italians did. Another victory. There was Adwa, and then there was a victory all those years later. Yes. So for me, this is a wonderful day to think of Adwa. I've actually been there. Beautiful part of northern Ethiopia with the pointed mountains and everything else. And although, of course, it's important to recognize it as a great victory over interference and violence from European powers and everything else, and a great symbol of Ethiopian freedom and liberation. I'd like to just finish my contribution really by thinking in a different way. Haile Selassie was crowned in St. George's Cathedral in Addis, which was built by Menelik to celebrate the victory at Adwa. The emperor was crowned there in 1930. And after he left Fairfield and Bath and was back in Ethiopia, he had a service of celebration there as well. Victory, of course, is important, and that's what we're thinking about with Adwa, but also something I wrote in my book, actually, a quote that one of the things I think I'm most admiring of the emperor for, which was he talked of forgiveness. The Italian army had committed some terrible atrocities over the years, but this is what he said to his own people. Do not return evil for evil. Do not indulge in the atrocities which the enemy has been practicing in his usual way, even to the last. Take care not to spoil the good name of Ethiopia by acts which are worthy of the enemy. So as we remember war and fighting and conflict, yes, and victory, that's good. But I have always been more interested in the peace and the building back and afterwards. And I think one of the great stories of the emperor being in Bath was that he regained his resources and his strength and was able to turn his victory into something more than just booting out the Italian army, but talking about sort of forgiveness and moving on. And as you know, the Italian culture and some of the Italian influence and families there has been very important ever since. So to me, that's what I'd like to focus on. And I think in the modern times, this link between the UK and Bath and Ethiopia and Addis Ababa and the emperor's role and involvement there, I think it's a fantastic symbol of hope and tolerance and forgiveness. So, Becca, Amesakinalo, Betam, and I'm so proud to be part of this gathering tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks very much. We do appreciate that. I know Professor Tulahon is going to interject, and I can see that he's sharing.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see that. So you may continue. I understand Professor Mamo Muche is with us as well. If you there, could you confirm that you're with us by unmuting yourself?
Professor Muche ከሌለ እኔ ልቀጥል?
Please go ahead.
እሺ መጀመሪያ በአማርኛ ላድርገውና ጥቂት አንድ ስላይድ ብቻ ስለሆነ በእንግሊዘኛ በኋላ ቀይረዋለሁ።
Please go ahead.
Maybe I should do it in ስለ ኢትዮጵያ ስለ ሀገር ያለኝ ምኞት ነው። ከዚህ በፊት እኔ ልጅ ሆኜ ይሄ ነበረን ይሄንን ያጠፉብን ለሀገሬ ለኢትዮጵያ ያለኝ ምኞት አንድ ሀገር አንድ ኩሩ ህዝብ ተከባብሮና ተዋዶ የሚኖር አንድ የንግስት ሳባ ፊደል አንድ ባንዲራ. Basically what I just said was the Ethiopia I knew and I grew up celebrating with my family. We had one country. Growing up as a kid, we played. We didn't know who belonged to what ethnic group. We were very respectful of each other. The neighbors looked after each other's kids. We raised children to be patriotic Ethiopians. We used Saba's alphabet, የንግስት ሳባ ፊደል, the Ge'ez fidel, which is superior than the Latin fidel. Let me just tell you one short story. My laboratory was a biotechnology consultant for the Food Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in Rome. When I was there, I met the person, a professor from Poland by the name of Chris Wojciechowski. When he told me, I didn't want to forget his name because it was important. Since this person, I have to do a lot of work. I immediately wrote his name in Ge'ez in our alphabet. And then the next time I saw him, I addressed him, "How are you, Professor Wojciechowski?" He immediately was puzzled and looked at me and he said, "Yilma, how did you do that?" I said, "What? You just pronounced my name perfect. You are the first non-Polish guy that I know who pronounced my name perfect. How did you do it?" I said, "The first time you told me, I wrote it in our alphabet. You can reproduce any sound. I challenge. Today, I work with the African Union. I play a major role in Africa CDC. And the next opportunity I have to present, I think we should seriously consider they're calling Addis Ababa the capital city of Africa. That's where the African Union, Africa's many organizations that we're building are there. And I challenge, we should we should dissociate ourselves from the colonial powers and show that Africa has a superior alphabet, which is the Sabian, Queen Sheba's alphabet. That should be introduced, in my opinion, as the alphabet of Ethiopia. Thank you very much, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. We do appreciate that. Please mute yourself. I can hear a background voice. We've extended our plan, and we are pushing it. Another 15 minutes has been done. So I recognize Fairfield trustees. So I know William is here. Do we have Sean? Sean?
You want to recognize Professor Mamo? He's in a car waiting for us.
Well, unmute. Oh, I do apologize. Please, Professor Mamo Muche, if you're there, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, he's here. He's ready. Professor Yilma, please unshare your screen, please.
Okay.
Just click the red button, says unshare.
All right, I did.